Somebody said, hi, Bob. Not somebody. Hi, Bob. I'm so glad the morning show explains so eloquently how Medicare is being denied and taken away from people that deserve and need it. Well, I mean, what else are they going to say? They're going to lie like their big pals do. What do you, LTS, body shop guy. I mean, and by the way, don't confuse Medicare with Medicaid. And guess who's not going to get it? Illegal aliens, who they love more than Americans. So naturally, they're going to scream like stuck pigs. One other text I want to get to before we go to our Bloomberg Money Minute and all that. Hey, Bob. Saw a video on YouTube where an American reporter with a translator went around the West Bank. Now, this is on the opposite side of Israel. It's the eastern side of Israel, but it's the West Bank of the Jordan River, okay? That's why it's called that. Gaza is on the west. Slightly confusing, but understandable. Anyway, talking to Palestinians, he told him how all the LGBTQ protesters on all these campuses are supporting them and their cause, and asked if any of them would support the LGBTQ cause and support them in gaining equal rights. The answer from over a dozen Palestinians was a resounding no. They will take the help, but don't ask them to lift a finger to give gays or lesbians any kind of rights. It just, and by the way, that's the reality, and these people are too stupid. Look if you're protesting against Israel, now, you're an insane, stupid person. There's nothing else to be said about you. There's nothing we could retrieve in terms of respecting your opinions. Bloomberg, we'll be back. Del Shannon, Murph says, had the #1 hit this date, 1961. Where were you, if anywhere? I was a couple months old. How about that? And you know what? It became the theme song for one of my favorite shows ever. You ever remember Crime Story? I think it was only on one season or something. It was set in Chicago, then they moved to Vegas, the mob and cops. It was great. I loved it. Great period piece. Anyway, yeah, here's a good. Rodney, you're nailing it. Morning, Bob. LTS. The troops give Trump a standing ovation. They said it was like a Trump rally. It seemed like it. And it says, remember when Biden addressed the class of the Coast Guard cadets? He admonished them for their lack of enthusiasm. I know. You want to talk about night and day and night and day. Now, and by the way, the history, and I thought he was a hateful bigot. He had some redeeming qualities. But Alabama Governor George Wallace shot and paralyzed. People forget he was a factor in the 1968 election, was running again in 1972. He actually got electoral votes. One could argue, and credibly so, he's the most effective independent candidate since Teddy Roosevelt. But he had true hatred, and you know. And by the way, that's where, like, people say, "Oh, you're speaking hate speech because I'm calling things the way they should be." Oh, that's hate speech. No, just because and I say that, and it sounds trite, but it's true. Just because you hate hearing it doesn't mean it's hate speech. It's like Truman said. An adjunct of that. It was, hey. He says, they say I'm giving them hell. I'm just telling them like it is, and they think it's hell. In any event, thank you, Rodney, for that point. We've got to take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. It's time for the news with Brian Hughes. Yes, it does rhyme. Coming back, Matt Wolford. He is our candidate for Commonwealth Court. And we're going to talk to him as we did a couple of weeks ago. Excited to talk to him. He's an amazing candidate. We'll be back with Matt Wolford after the news. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. Great good morning, everyone. 10:09 a.m. here in the great Northeast this beautiful Thursday, May 15, 2025. You know, I haven't gotten the year wrong yet this year. We'll see. This is the Bob Cordaro Show, and I am he, and it's a big day to fight for America, defend our values, and with the help of our man John Basiliga and his great family of companies, to honor the brave we've lost who have made us and kept us free. People like Robert Swankowski, Dwight Haven, Charles Catkavage, Bear Creek, Dante Teeny, Trip Park section of Scranton, Jack McLaughlin, Carbondale, Milton Hess, Orangeville, and Tim Todd Waters, Maineville. So with history, our great founding fathers, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle. Gaveling back to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising you a sanctuary of sanity amidst the lunacy of the left and the Democrat Party. They're showing scenes of this stupid idiot judge in Wisconsin and now the stupid fools who are protesting on her behalf. She clearly committed a crime. Now, see, if they had any self-respect on the left, she would plead guilty, say, I'm sorry, that was really stupid, helping a batterer. Now, not only was he an illegal alien, he's battering people, he's pounding on people. He's in front of her on a criminal case that was proven, and she's trying to get him out the courthouse so he can't get grabbed by ICE. Wow. Breathtakingly arrogant, breathtakingly stupid. So with that, we'll go to a judicial candidate who is breathtakingly qualified. And that is our man, Matt Wolford, running for Commonwealth Court here in PA. How are you, Matt?
Fine. How are you? Nice to be with you again.
Good to have you back, and I told you, anytime. We talked a lot about your qualifications last time. You've done this. I mean, you've done prosecutions. You've interacted with the government continually. You've got a private practice that fights with the government, and Commonwealth Court is the court in Pennsylvania that hears cases when there's controversy involving government agencies and real people.
Yes, that's what they specialize in. You know, I love listening to your show, by the way, and you made an excellent point before the break about the First Amendment. You know, it doesn't really protect speech that everybody likes.
Yep.
It protects the speech that people don't, and I thought you made an excellent point. But since we talked last, I've been traveling throughout the Commonwealth. I've been to numerous counties, mostly in the West, Butler, Clarion, Westmoreland. I was home in Erie last night, but I'm actually, I pulled over here. I'm on my way back to your neck of the woods. I'm going to Clark Summit for a meeting a little bit later today, and then down to Philadelphia this evening, and then Chester County tomorrow. So I'm making the rounds, trying to make the case why we need conservative, common sense judges on Pennsylvania courts.
Amen.
And of course, we have the May 20 primary coming up next Tuesday, so it's important that everybody gets out and votes.
And Republicans have a tendency not to get out and vote. You know, they vote in presidential elections and the general election with great consistency, but other elections, not so much.
Yeah, and they're not as motivated, I guess, to vote in lockstep because they're more independent-minded thinkers. But it's extremely important, especially in a statewide judicial race and local races, that, you know, people just sort of overlook those because we don't have Trump on the ballot, you know, sort of pushing everybody along, getting them out to the polls. So people need to be sort of, you know, super voters and be motivated to get out. And it's extremely important because, you know, if we don't have good Republicans on the ballot for the fall, you know, the Democrats are going to take over. And as I said before, you know, the Democrat judges and Democrats in general, they think that the government is the solution to all our problems.
Yes.
And I'm a Reagan conservative, and Reagan said the government a lot of times is the problem, and so you have to have the proper mindset when you're looking at, do we side again with government and give them more of our personal freedoms and private property rights, or do we side with the people? And conservative, common sense judges tend to come down on the side of the people.
Well, the beauty of Matt Wolford for Commonwealth Court is that you appreciate both sides. You've worked on both sides. You get where the government overreaches, and that's what people need to have in terms of the Commonwealth Court forum when they've got a problem with some branch or authority of the government.
Yes, and so yesterday there was a oral argument in the Pennsylvania Supreme Court that sort of highlights the point that you're making. So there's this thing called RGGI. It's the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative. And so it has to do with whether or not Pennsylvania should join in this group of states to combat, according to the group of states, climate change. So what happened was Governor Wolf, that Pennsylvania was going to be part of this. But he didn't go to the General Assembly. He didn't go to our Congress, our legislature, whose job it is to set policy. Every other state that's in this organization got approval from their legislature. And yet, for some reason, Pennsylvania, Governor Wolf decided he didn't need to do that. So
because
really
he knew he wouldn't get it.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make it okay
That's right.
for the executive to exercise power that he lacks.
Yep.
So we have to have courts that push back and say, no, you had to get the proper approval from the legislative branch. And I'm hopeful that the Supreme Court will do that. But, with as many Democrats on that court as we have, I'm not optimistic.
Matt Wolford is our guest. He is our candidate for Commonwealth Court here in Pennsylvania, a very important court. Now, you've already given
background. As you said, I worked for the government before. I worked as a deputy attorney general in 2 different capacities, both civil and criminal. I worked at the DEP to learn how to do environmental law and also administrative law. And the Commonwealth Court deals with a lot of administrative law matters, regulations and policies and all those sorts of things. I've been in front of a large number of different state agencies that come before the court. I've been fighting the government for 25 years, which is a decade longer than my opponent's been a lawyer.
Yeah.
And so my depth of experience is much greater. The scope of my experience is much broader. I was recommended by the Pennsylvania Bar Association. They have 3 rankings. One's highly recommended, one's recommended, and then the last one is not recommended. I'm highly recommended, and my opponent was not recommended. And I'm also the endorsed candidate for the Republican Party. So when you add all those things up, I'm clearly, I think, the better candidate. But again, we got to get people motivated to get out there and make it happen next Tuesday. And I would also mention my sort of she's not a running mate, but sort of a teammate, for lack of a better term, the other endorsed candidate for the Republican Party for Superior Court, not Commonwealth Court, is Judge Anne Marie Wheatcraft. And I would encourage everybody to get out and vote for her next Tuesday as well.
She's great. We had her on yesterday. Well, Judge, I'm calling you Judge in advance. Matt Wolford, I bring a judgeship and qualifications for judgeship down to 2 things. Number 1, background. Number 2, perspective. You're an A++ on both of those things. So we wish you the best of luck. I'll be voting for you Tuesday, the 20th. I look forward to voting for you. I'm excited. I'm actually excited to vote for you. I really am. And I hope everybody in our audience feels the same way. I think they do. And we appreciate you coming on, and we hope we talk to you quite a bit through the entire summer and fall.
Well, it's very flattering what you just said. Thank you so much for the kind words, and I'm optimistic about Tuesday, and if that happens, I will gladly and routinely call into your show. I love talking to you, and I love listening to the clips right before I go on. Great stuff.
Hey, tell my friends at Clark Summit I said hello, would you please?
Will do.
All right.
Thank you.
Matt Wolford, our candidate for Commonwealth Court Judge. Let's take a break. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. Isn't that a cute song? Ricky Nelson. Now keep playing it, Bulldog. I love this song. Da, 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 da. May 15th, I don't have the year on my sheet. Ricky Nelson moved from number 18 to number 6 with his hit, Traveling Man. And the Soviets begin their withdrawal. By the way, did you ever see Charlie Wilson's War? The movie's okay. The book is fantastic. And I had the pleasure of meeting the late, great Charlie Wilson, who really, really made American policy happen that forced the withdrawal. And the amazing part is that we should have learned not to try to occupy, not only from the Soviets' failure, but from the British failure before that. So it's amazing. Lessons never learned. George W. Go kill bin Laden, kill as many Taliban as you can, and get out. Same thing with Iraq. Crazy. Anyway, they begin withdrawing. And I will point out to you, they didn't leave behind allies the way Joe Biden and his clown show did. They didn't have 13 American servicemen killed because they had the defense perimeter set by the enemies they were fighting, the Taliban. Unbelievable. Poet Joe checking in. He says it's regarding one of our songs. In 1962, I was 4 years old watching my grandmother's house come down Route 315 on the back of a truck because it was being moved to make way for Interstate 81 where the Pencon Highway was. How about that? Wow. Well, now Interstate 81 was a racist road. They're all immigrants there. They took away their neighborhoods. We did it in Bunker Hill and Dunmore, split it in half for Route 81. Somebody else, Trump wants to, this could be a troll, nominate a person to be Surgeon General that is not a doctor. The Surgeon General is the nation's doctor. Maybe. I wouldn't, I don't know if I'd go with that strict an interpretation. So wouldn't you think, wouldn't you want a doctor in that position? Your thoughts? I don't have many thoughts on that. I don't know who he has proposed or their qualifications or their attitude. You need an administrator with a clear agreement of your agenda, that being the MAHA, make America healthy again. They'd have to be in lockstep with that. You can't have HHS and RFK fighting with the Surgeon General. So my own view, if they were a good administrator and if they had the right agenda, then I don't care if they're a doctor or not. It's just me. Well, it's not just me. Obviously, it's Trump, too. Another dollar bill checking in. LTS back at you, dollar bill. Just want to wish Israel a happy 77th birthday. Yesterday. I did not know that, as Johnny Carson would say. Thank you, dollar bill. Happy birthday to Israel. Yeah, I didn't know that. All right. Let us talk to our friend. We've got about a minute or two, Bob Bolus. How are you? You're a candidate for mayor in the city of Scranton as a write-in.
You got it, my friend. A Republican write-in.
Okay.
I want to make that very clear.
Tell us what have you been doing campaign-wise? It's much harder, obviously, to run as a write-in.
It is, but, people know who I am in the city. They know what I've been doing here for 31 years with my Christmas Day dinner. on Christmas Day and all the other things I've contributed, disinfectant wipes throughout the whole city, to the food banks, everybody that needed them, the ones that prepared meals for the kids. There were a trailer was over at Weston Field, one was in Clark Summit, and not counting what we've sent down south to help all those in the disaster areas. And everything else I do. But, you'll find me at city council. You'll find me at the commissioners meeting. And I ask the crazy question to the people in the city. What other candidates do you see fighting for your rights? Mm-hmm. I was at the town hall with Chris Chermak the other day, and I brought up to them there where I've already filed 2 lawsuits. One against the assessment and the other against the tax increase. And we're getting people now that are calling me and joining because we're going to turn it into a class action suit. You get one lawyer, it's going to cost you a ton of money. I don't care who it is. Nobody's for free. You join the class action, you're spending pennies on the dollars to get the same result.
Mm-hmm. Well, Bob Bullis,
I'm telling everybody, this is what I'm doing.
One of the things I know all of us and all of the candidates running agree on is that Paige Cognetti has completely failed us as mayor of Scranton.
She has, but she's not my issue today.
Yeah.
My issue is the other 2 candidates that are running on the Republican ticket. The Rhino, Charlie Spano, got me off the ballot with his lies.
Well, I wouldn't say he's
a
rhino.
He filed a 2021 lawsuit instead of a 2025, and the judge said it was a typographical error. Rather than go with the rule of law and throw it the hell out, he let it go by, which is ridiculous. He was acting as his lawyer, not as the judge. And we filed appeals on it, and I'm going to get my expungement, and I am going to be able to take the seat, if elected, in November. So I want to set that very clear to the namesayers out there to say it isn't going to happen. It's going to happen, one way or the other. Whether I win the campaign or I don't, I'm still going to have my expungement, which I've been entitled to for a long time because of the way this all came about. And I'll explain that to you at another time.
All right. Well,
but right now, tonight I have at St. Mary's Assumption Church on Pittston Avenue is my campaign party. You'll enjoy it, Rob. The hot dogs are coming from Abe's on South Main Street in Wilkes-Barre. They're already prepared, including the burgers, and this is free. I'm not asking anybody for a donation. You don't have to, because I'm not running in this campaign to make money on it. I'm running here for the people in the city of Scranton. I'm a lifelong resident. Our company has been here. My family has been here forever. And I stand up for the people of the city. And if you don't want that, you got the other candidates you could vote in. And if you want more of the same, don't look at me, because with me, things will change. And they'll change radically.
Well, Bob Bullis,
and I'm about Scranton. I'm a Scrantonian, and you people are my people. And if you want a mayor that's going to take care of the city, you'll never hear the word pothole. You'll never hear none of this stupid wandering. We will have a nice office in the city of Scranton at the police department, and the scum will be out of here. And if you're legal, you're here. If you're illegal, you're gone. We'll open our doors again and be able to unlock our cars. Time has come for everybody to stand up and get the job done. But you need leadership. And if you want leadership, write me in, Bob Bullis for mayor. If you don't want leadership, you got the other candidates.
All right. Bob Bullis, thank you, my friend. Good luck on Tuesday. Stay safe and strong on the campaign trail. We'll take a break. We want to hear from our great sponsors. Bob Cordaro, the eponymous program rolls on. And when we come back, Trish Bynum, another Republican candidate for Scranton mayor. We'll hear from her when we return. Our veterans this hour: John McLaughlin. They called him Jack. He was 85 when he passed away on March 28th. Born in Carbondale, member of Our Lady of the Rosary Parish, Carbondale. Graduate of St. Rose High School. He was a veteran of the great Pennsylvania National Guard, 109th Infantry. Prior to retirement, he was employed in the maintenance department for the Carbondale Area School District. He loved to hunt. He loved to fish. Surviving are a son, John, a daughter, Ann Walsh, 5 granddaughters, a great-grandson, sisters, nieces, nephews. Jack McLaughlin. Dante Teeny. He died March 28th. He was from the Trip Park section of Scranton. He was 81. Wife of 59 years, the former Helen English. Born in Scranton, a 1961 graduate of West Scranton High School. A veteran of the United States Army. I knew Dante. He retired from the National Book Company in Dunmore. He enjoyed breakfast every morning at Caramano's. And then he loved to hang around with his pals at Merck's Garage. Friday nights in the old days, reserved for dinner at Finelli's. Also surviving, daughters, a son, grandchildren, a great-grandson, and other family members. Dante Teeny. Our great veterans, brought to you by John Basiliga. His family of companies, including Serenity Care, Eastern Roofing Systems, J. Bass Realty, and Basiliga Hospitality. Storm Tracker 16 forecast from meteorologist Joe Snedeker. Today, clouds and sun with a chance of showers and thunderstorms, 75. Tonight, partly cloudy with a chance of showers, 58. Friday, clouds and sun with scattered showers and thunderstorms, 80. Saturday, clouds and sun, a chance of scattered showers and thunderstorms, 80. Sunday, cooler with a mix of clouds and sun and the chance of showers, 69. The rain, on and off rain continues. That's a good thing, I guess. We need it. We do. I haven't checked. I haven't checked on Lake Scranton and how low it is, but it was, God, it had to be 8 feet lower than it should be. So that, keep it coming for a little while. There's enough opportunity for activity with the, because it's spotty. It's not constant rain, all day rain. So let you know, I don't have a problem with the rain. I don't. By the way, on the case regarding the Surgeon General nominee of Donald Trump, Casey Means, somebody texted in, and you're correct. Casey Means is a doctor. Graduated first in her class at Stanford Medical. She chose not to practice because she felt that traditional medical practice wasn't getting the job done. So now she's part of the Maha deal, and I love it. By the way, we're going to have a guest next Thursday from the Maha gang to review the first 100 days of RFK in that critical position of Secretary of Health and Human Services. It's a big deal. So, I'm all in on Casey Means. All in, and thank you for that. All right. We've got essentially a 3-way primary. Now, we've had all the candidates on at least once. And next up, who we've spoken to before, Trish Bynum, Scranton candidate for mayor. She's on the Republican ticket in the Republican primary. Welcome back to the Bob Cordaro Show, Trish.
Well, thank you, Bob. I appreciate you having me back on today.
Anytime. You know that.
Well, thank you. I just want to let everybody know, yes, I'm a Republican candidate for mayor for City of Scranton. I'm real excited about it. Next week's election day. I can't believe next Tuesday already. Oh, my gosh.
It's got to be it's a relief, too.
It is a relief. All this running around, it's worth it, but boy, it's a lot. I go to bed at night, I'm exhausted. I just literally pass out. But anyway, for anybody who doesn't know a little bit about me, I just want to let them know I'm an accounting executive for Scartelli Construction for like 34 years. And I do some accounts payable, accounts receivable, billing, preparing and submitting payroll. I perform reconciliations, year-end closeouts, submit bids. I do it all. So anyway, I feel like I have the experience needed to balance the city's budget, just based on that. And also, I don't think I mentioned that last time, I'm a realtor for NASA Real Estate for over 10 years now. Yeah, so I have like
you're used to being busy, Trish Bynum.
Very, very busy. I like it, but it's crazy. Yeah, so I just want to let everybody know I'm excited to be running, and I hope that I get their vote, and that, I just want to make sure I fix most of what I can of what's broken in the city right now, which I'm sure we all know what that is: the taxes, the roads, the blight, the increased violent crime, which has gone up like double or tripled in the last 4 years. And then, what else I wanted to mention too? I hear a lot of people when I walk around the streets knocking doors, teenagers. They don't have any place to go in the city really, except that they go to the outskirts of town. They have those little splash pads that sprout up all over the place. But they really need to have more activities, and I'm kind of making that one of my priorities to look into see what I can do to give the teenagers more activities like after school and during the summer, because they really don't have anything to do in the area.
Well, especially in the summer, because we got a mayor who can't build a pool.
Correct.
By the way, doesn't want
waiting.
to. She just discovered, Mayor Cognetti just discovered this year that it takes a lot of water to fill a pool. Which probably,
figure,
it insults her Green New Deal philosophy.
Yes, it does. I think we need to make a few changes there. I'm hoping to do that. I'm hoping, and then again, the transparency, which everybody's talking about. I want people to really understand the finances a little bit better. It's kind of not broken down too good in that 2025 budget if you pull it up offline. So, yeah, I'm just hoping that everybody, thinks of me, and there's, I'm not going to have any hidden agendas. I'm just going to have transparency and be honest. And, that's what a mayor's job is. You're supposed to work for the people, be honest, keep them informed. And that's my overall goal. Make sure people know they can reach out to me. I'm there for them. And I don't sleep now, so I'm not going to be sleeping later because I'm so busy now. I'm used to it by now.
Well, Trish Bynum, I assume you'll let people into City Hall.
I will let people into City Hall with open arms. Sit down. Absolutely. There's not going to be any locked doors because really that's the way it should be. I feel strongly that, we're a close-knit community here, the city of Scranton. We understand each other. We're from Scranton. People from around here are local mostly, and they like each other. They know each other. I think I know a mayor that's in this area is, probably a better choice for more people than what we have right now. And, they know. The people in Scranton know the people in Scranton. They understand each other.
Trish Bynum, what is your last weekend of campaigning consist of as far as you can see?
For tomorrow night, tonight I'm going to be knocking doors again, starting soon in a few more hours. Tomorrow up near the Everhart Museum, if anyone is interested they want to meet me, they're welcome to. From 4 to 6, I'm going to have an ice cream truck we're going to have up there, and we're going to be giving away free soft serve cones.
Nice.
And I'm going to, if people want to get to know me, they could. And then I have a few more events scheduled and a lot of running around. And I'm going to be at Marley's Mission, from helping them out because that's an important cause. And hopefully by Tuesday, it might be, hopefully good news for me. And we're going to have a little campaign party at Cooper's at 7:30. So if anyone out there is Republican and would like to support me and stop over, please do.
Well, we appreciate it. Trish Bynum, we appreciate you running and fighting for our city because it's headed in the wrong direction. We need We need a change. We appreciate it.
You need people that are somebody honest, informed, and I am definitely honest, definitely informed, and thrilled and excited to even be afforded the opportunity to run for mayor. So hopefully I will be elected to make some positive changes for everybody. So thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
You're more than welcome. Feel free to call in again. We could always have a few minutes for you. Don't you worry.
Thank you. Talk to you soon. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Republican mayoral candidate Trish Bynum. Tuesday's election day. Man, it snuck up on us. I'm sure it snuck up on the candidates, too. It's quite something. Ginny C. in Plains, Plains Township. She's checking in. She says, I love Bob Bolus for all he does for our community. Unfortunately, I can't vote for him. I'm in Luzerne County. She said, but if I could, I'd even dig up mom and dad and vote for him as they know they would if they could. I mean, there's a significant issue, and it's what it is now. As of this moment, he could not serve. And I love Bob Bolus. I'll tell you this. I like all three candidates on the Republican side. I think they're all solid. They will do a good job. I also like Bobby Sheridan running on the Democrat side. I can't vote for him because I'm registered Republican. But I hope he wins. I hope he wins that primary. Our time with Paige Cognetti should end. And I was going to get into it. We just didn't have enough time. But for Trish Bynum, there's going to be a necessity of substantial spending cuts or a tax increase next year because this is a booby trap election year budget by Mayor Cognetti. By the way, somebody texted in, enough rain for now, Bob. I need to make hay for my cows. All right, I'm in. Look at it. If you're raising hay, I got to go with you. If you say it's enough rain, you know better than I do. So I'm with you. All right, rain, stop. Joe Snedeker, let's get with it. We'll take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. We're going to return in the middle of our great sponsors. We're going to check in with the markets on the Bloomberg Money Minute. We'll be back. The Byrds, Murph tells us. This date, 1965. They debuted on the charts with their version of the Bob Dylan hit Mr. Tambourine Man. Oh, by the way, Murph tells us, let me find his text. It's 1961 for the Ricky Nelson song. He's ever the perfectionist. So it was 1961. We didn't have the year on the paper, but that's for Traveling Man. I love that song. But that was a Bob Dylan hit. Mr. Tambourine Man, the Byrds maybe even did it better. Mother Teresa for May 15th. She says, don't search for Jesus in far lands. He is not there. He is close to you. He is with you. Just keep the lamp burning, and you will always see him. Keep on filling the lamp with all these little drops of love, and you will see how sweet is the Lord you love. Beautiful. Mother Teresa for May 15th. Thank you, Mary Regina. So I've been talking about the roads in Scranton, and they're a disaster. Well, today's paper, okay, 5 days before the Democrat primary, Mayor Cognetti, or maybe a week before, whatever, she has proposed fixing the pave cut rules. Now, let me explain what a pave cut rule is. The pave cuts are when somebody's got to go in and work on a pipe or work on whatever, it doesn't matter, like they put fiber optic lines on my street and all that. You've got to get permission, and then you cut the pavement. And there's a level of restoration which you do. Now, these things aren't done without any advance notice. Like, you've got plenty of time to figure it out. And in fact, if Mayor Cognetti and her administration, which is, by the way, it's defined by wokeness more than qualifications, period. That's all the qualifications are, which, by the way, as I always say about these left-wing lunatics, if you're not qualified, how could you pick qualified people? It's impossible. You'd have to be blind luck to get anybody that knew what they were doing. And that's been the hallmark of the Cognetti administration. So anyway, she's trying to fix. She's been in office 5 years. It's election year now. She's going to supposedly fix the pave cut thing. Now, here's the thing. And if you pay attention to who needs to do what, and they plan this work, there's emergency work without doubt, but most of the pave cuts are planned months, sometimes even years in advance. So you sit down with the utilities. This is how you do it, Mayor. You sit down with the utilities, but again, you don't communicate with anybody. You hide in your office or in Clark Summit. So when instead of hiding in Clark Summit, you call meetings of all the responsible parties, all the utilities who have regular pave cut responsibilities. Find out what their projects are. And the beauty of it was, unfortunately, blown by this incompetent mayor, with the $60-some-odd million that was given to us for just the city. If we had only coordinated with the utilities, that would actually extend the 60-some-odd million so you could pave more streets. You coordinate with them. You work with them. You have your contractors subcontract with them to restore the pavement when they do their work and then pave the entire street. So instead of using an advantage, this mayor is now trying to catch up by tweaking the regulation. Well, no, this is about, pave cuts are about communication. We know who the utilities are. In fact, in Scranton, it's easier. You've got the water and the sewer run by the same company. You've got PPL. You've got some, whether it's Comcast, you've got Empire. And when they plan to do something, if you work with them, if you pay attention, because they've got to get the pave cut permit, if you pay attention to what they're doing and even anticipate what they're doing by meeting with them, Mayor, then you could take the money you have and leverage it with the cost they're going to put up to restore the roads that they're cutting into. It's that simple. Unbelievable. Somebody says the water company will sink Cognetti's campaign with the streets in Southside all closed up and dug up with a few that are repaved. It's like a bombed out city. But see, it didn't have to happen that way. If the mayor knew what she was doing, if her administration knew what they were doing, they'd be working with the water company and saying, all right, when are you doing this? And actually, at times you say, well, okay, no, I want you to do it earlier. I want you to start the project sooner. And then we'll leverage the money you were going to invest with the money we were going to use, and we'll pave the roads cheaper and get more done. She had two things she needed to do with the $69 million given her administration. Put in the damn pools at NAOG. So it's 3 jobs. I apologize. Pave the streets and fix City Hall. That's what she had to do. None of it has been accomplished. 0. But she's got pave cuts rules being tweaked. And dutifully, the left-wing rag, the Scranton paper, puts it on page 3 as though she's doing something. It's unbelievable. It comes down to simple common sense and communication. That's it. But we don't have common sense or communication out of this mayor. Please vote for somebody else on Tuesday the 20th. Time for the news with Brian Hughes. Way over, but an important rant. We'll be back after that. Yes, it does. It'll never end, guys. Great good morning. It's 11:12 a.m. here in the great Northeast. Thank you, Victor David Hanson. It is Thursday, May 15, 2025. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he, and it's a big day to fight for America, defend our values, and with the help of our man, John Basiliga, and his family of companies, to honor the brave we've lost this year, but the people who have made us and kept us free. People like Dante Teeny, Trip Park Section, Scranton, Jack McLaughlin, Carbondale, Robert Swankowski, Whitehaven, Charles Catkavage, Bear Creek Village, Milton Hess, Orangeville, and Tim Todd Walters, Maineville. So with history, our great founding fathers, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle. We gavel back to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising a sanctuary of sanity for the balance of this hour. And we remind people this is not a safe harbor for stupidity. We will not suffer fools gladly. So, over the actually the last several years, a good friend of mine has been telling me, and some of you too, about chemtrails. I mean, we don't often look in the sky. And there's something called contrails, which is from a plane, and it just happens, naturally occurring, and I'll be corrected if I'm wrong. And then chemtrails. And then a lot of people believe, a lot of smart people believe, it goes further than that. And I've thought about, I've got to explore this. I'm ignorant of it. I know most of you probably are not. But when we look up at the sky, maybe there's things we could start thinking about. I mean, it's a belief that goes as far as, and we may not get to that today, but I want to regularly explore this. It goes as far as saying they are poisoning us with what they're spraying into the sky above us. It's a fascinating thing. And the people who believe this and are committed to it and are taking legal and other actions to fight it, well, they're no dummies. This is not anything freaky. And it's scary. And as I've told friends of mine before, and as I've told this audience, things that seemed like conspiracy theories before the last 4 years with Joe Biden, I have gone from cynical to merely skeptical, and now to being open to listening regarding the government and its activities. Now, Louis Arthur, he is from a group called VOP. And VOP is Veterans on Patrol. And he's been studying this and taking action. And I asked him last night, I said, Mr. Arthur, I said, Louis, would you please come on my show today and talk about it? But let's start from the beginning. And I welcome to the show Louis Arthur. How are you?
How's it going, sir? Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Well, great to have you. Now, tell us, let's just start with the chemtrails, because we're going to have to take this in bites instead of the whole mouthful, because it goes a lot farther than that. But we see planes flying overhead, and we see, all these trails in the sky. You see something different when you look at that. We think it's just exhaust or condensation or whatever. Tell us what you see when you look up and see contrails. You see something more, correct?
Yes, sir. Before I started doing the research and talking to whistleblowers inside the military and taking readily available information that's available on Geoengineering Watch, and Dane Wigington has covered this. I am an independent investigative journalist, and so we've been doing extensive research, and we take the whistleblowers at their own words, and then we went and just did any online research. I always encourage people. I used to just think it was I knew something was wrong, but I was just like, well, maybe those are just jet fumes as we were hearing them.
Yeah.
But now you see them everywhere, all over, right? So we knew they weren't contrails. And then when we saw that the military was using biplanes in the 40s, they've been doing weather experimentation. We looked and saw what John F. Kennedy said and Lyndon B. Johnson at a college memorandum speech. He bragged about us being able to take over the world cloud stratosphere, and he who controls the weather controls the world. And this was the Vice President of the United States in the Kennedy administration. And Kennedy spoke specifically about us having the ability in a global treaty. So the United States Antarctica Project, which is out of the United States Antarctica Treaty, this is where all the nations of the world, and we provided all this evidence that's available, including what wasn't, to the Oklahoma City FBI on March 17th after we did disaster recovery in North Carolina for weather. We call them weather weapons for Helene.
Mm-hmm.
So after we did the disaster response, I had collected testimonies from hundreds of people who had survived, first responders, and President Donald Trump was actually in Swannanoa. He was in my encampment. There was a lot of stories about us out there, our media team and our search and rescue team, because we were going after the military, specifically drawing attention to what they did, posting signs on their equipment, calling it Weather Weapon Helene. We showed where stratospheric aerosol injections is what they're called. And anyone, the best way to open your mind to this is they have to tell you what they're doing as part of the live military exercises we're in that's been acknowledged by the Secretary of Defense and the President. We can get to that. But they have to tell us what they're doing. And if you Google chemtrail, you're going to get all these stories about conspiracy theories, or just chemtrails, or just jet fume vapors.
Mm-hmm.
But if you Google stratospheric aerosol injections, you'll get CIA Chief John Brennan talking about them and their deployment. You'll get the military patents. You'll get the chemicals. Now,
and by the way, I don't know if your research disclosed this, Louis Arthur, and he's our guest, and we're talking about chemtrails. We're talking about the skies above us, something pretty basic and pretty scary. I know, and I've read, that we tried to control the weather in Vietnam during the Vietnam War. We started experimenting, and we started experimenting back in the 50s to see if we could seed clouds and that kind of thing.
Yes, and in Vietnam, it was called Operation Popeye, and that was the first, major successful, without a doubt. Everything went the way they planned. It actually was more intense than they intended it to, but that's when they made it intentionally rain and flood it out. So what we're trying to explain to Americans is the very Operation Popeye that was utilized in Vietnam. Now we have more enhanced technologies and ground-based units, including HARP and NEXRAD towers. They'll tell you they're Doppler radars, which they're not. And if you would Google like Veterans on Patrol and Doppler radars, you'll see all these stories that's been breaking nationally about us. We've been running attack simulations against it since we filed our complaints with the FBI. But I want to get back to the chemtrails, because these are things your audience can see with their own eyes, and these are things they can just research. And I would just tell everyone that I can't go to the FBI and file some bogus complaint and go out and start running simulations, informing the public. I'm a member of the press. And I don't go by a script. I am a believer. Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. I don't report to make people afraid. I'm telling you the honest truth, that these are chemical and biological agents. And I submitted this evidence to Governor Stitt of Oklahoma, the representatives, the senators. I've been cooperating with the Oklahoma City FBI, all law enforcement, even though we're running simulations. And globally, they're saying we're threatening to blow these towers up. We're just trying to get people to look at the problem and see what these things are. In your skies, we have poisons. So let's focus on your skies. Now, on the April 17th through April 18th, we got bombarded in Oklahoma, and all the pictures of the chemtrails, the documents, the videos were collected. The rain system that formed, the clouds suddenly just formed after they sprayed all their checkers across our skies. We got the filming of the units. None of them will show up on flight radar. If you download Flight Radar 24 app, you can see who's flying above you. You'll see military aircraft, but you will see the planes that are dispersing the chemtrails 9 times out of 10. You won't see them on your flight radar. They're unmarked. They're not being shown to the public. So we film them, and then we can overlap it with Flight Radar. We have the chemtrails from April 17th to April 18th. The results from the rain that was produced from this cloud seeding, from them making it rain with these chemtrails and deploying the weather, we have the test results, and there was highly elevated levels of aluminum, barium, calcium, iron, manganese, silicone, silica, strontium, and sulfur. And sulfur dioxides are really bad, but the aluminum and the barium itself, I mean, when you talk about the metals that we are absorbing, so farmers across the nation have been testing their soils. Health and Human Secretary Bobby Kennedy Jr. admitted in a meeting just last week that it was DARPA, that it was the Department of Defense that was spraying the stratospheric aerosol injections.
For the audience, that's the defense. That's called the defense. DARPA is Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. It does all their scientific advancement and research.
And if everyone looks up Title 50, subsection 1520A, there's a PrEP Act there, and you will see where they wrote a law and they said they prohibit the military from poisoning us, from using directed energy weapons against us. But if you go to subsection 1520A, you will see where the military is authorized to be poisoning our skies right now. That's where they're showing they're authorized, and no one's delivered non-consent. Now, for the first time on March 17th, myself and my researcher, Lori Kramer, sir, I sent you the links to the patents, to her research. Dane Wigington, the poster boy for chemtrails now, he actually plagiarized her research. I took her to the FBI. She's had death threats. She's had militaries from across the world go to her sites when she started reporting on this 25 years ago, and she was kind of pushed into the dark. So we brought her out into the light safely. She is protected by the FBI because she submitted evidence as a whistleblower, and there's new whistleblower protection laws.
It's radio, so I've got to interrupt you, but because we got to take a break. Louis Arthur's our guest. Chemtrails and what is happening in the skies above us is the subject. We're going to take a break. We've got hear from our great sponsors, a little history, a little music, and then we're going to come back. And Mr. Arthur, what I would like to hear from you is why are they doing this other than raw experimentation for future purposes? But the why is as important as anything else. We know they can. We know they've tried in the past for military purposes, among others. But let us know what your thoughts are, because you're so much deeper into all this, as to why they are doing it and why they're doing it where you're talking about. We'll take a break. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. Our veterans, this hour and every hour, this day and every day, brought to you by John Basiliga and one of his great companies, the Basiliga Hospitality Group. As we head into the weekend, these are the places to go. The Old Brook Inn, 307 Springbrook Township. It's got the whole package. Fine dining to great bar food and 2 great bars. Event space, all that. Far Street Tavern, the reimagined neighborhood bar in the heart of the Trips Park section of West Scranton. Atera 519, downtown Scranton, 519 Linden Street. The Crown Jeweler Restaurants in Northeast PA. Underneath that, Sergei's, the nightclub. An amazing place. What a blast. Scranton Art House. You want to see a first-run movie? Enjoy it with a cocktail, dinner, the best popcorn in the business. Scranton Art House, Lackawanna Avenue, downtown Scranton. The Stegmeyer Mansion for events, downtown Wilkes-Barre. Queen City Tavern, coming back soon, totally reimagined. Milton Hess, proud veteran, enjoyed tinkering with cars. He was 82. He was from Orangeville. We lost him March 28th. Born in Nanacoke, graduate of the former Newport Township High School. Milt was last employed by the Great Wise Potato Chip Company of Berwick. He was a truck driver there. Prior to that, he drove for Gold Star Lines of Bloomsburg for many years. Member of the Orangeville United Church. He proudly served this country in the United States Army during the Vietnam War, December 1965 to December 1967. Preceded in death by his wife of 55 years, the former Judith Wenner. We lost her in 2022. 4 brothers predeceased him. Survived by 2 sons, 3 grandsons, a step-granddaughter, a step-grandson, a sister and other family. Milton Hess. Tim Todd Waters. We've talked about him before. He was from Mainville. He's 55. He's still with us. Born and raised in Rupert, PA, along the Susquehanna River, locally known as the Narrows. Tim joined the U.S. Navy as a submariner. 4 years active duty, 20 years in the Naval Reserves, including a 2-year stint with the PA National Guard. Deployed in Iraq with the Navy Seabees, the Battle of Qasr. He spent a year deployed there out of one of Saddam Hussein's former palaces. He finished his career retiring from the Naval Reserves and the Pennsylvania Department of Corrections. He's now the current owner-operator of Tim Todd Hauling. Partially disabled veteran, Tim Todd Waters. Our great veterans this hour brought to you by John Basiliga and the great Basiliga Hospitality Group, which you got to think of them. It's the weekend. It's coming. So Lewis Arthur is our guest, and thank you for your patience, my friend. So we've got the government, probably the Defense Department, maybe the CIA, maybe intelligence agencies. They're spraying our skies. Some of it, the spray, and some of this with toxic chemicals, you contend. And that is being measured in the soil and groundwater.
Rainwater, yes.
And the rain,
and it's showing in the crops, too. So your crops right now, even farmers are reporting that there are metals in our food. And it's really unique. There's an organic farmer, and we're going to be having that story out on my channel. And maybe we can have you talk to him, too. That'd be really good for your audience because he grows both organic food on his farm and GMO. And because of the increased spraying, I believe he's up in Pennsylvania, too, sir. So
you send him my way. We'll put him on. Yeah, I'd appreciate it.
Absolutely. But,
all right.
and I have seen his videos.
Let's get to the question because there's so much information in your mind that you want to get out.
Yes.
But we've only got a minute or two. Why?
Yes, sir.
Why are they doing this?
Because it's total control. They want to control the world. They've been given information, and we know who it is. It's the United States Antarctica Project. It's a USAP operation, and it's part of the Antarctica Treaty. And just like England just came out and said that they're going to dim the sun for global boiling, global warming, climate change, they are all military psyops that are propagated through the National Weather Service and the NOAA. These are not real models or anything. The weather is changing because we have been manipulating it for decades, and we have gotten the technology so fine-tuned that we are able to make more intense storms. For example, in 1980, there was 800 tornadoes in America. Then when they institute the Doppler radars, and now we have nearly 200 of them, we've had 1,700 tornadoes, over 1,700, hit us. And they'll tell you that it's because of climate change. No, it's not. These are military experiments with the weather. Their plan is to control the weather. They want to play God with the weather. And for those that know my Lord and Savior, you know what I'm talking about when I say that. So this is the enemy mocking God.
Louis Arthur, this is the arrogance that we've seen in so many other aspects of government. And they're always going to fail and have unintended consequences. Somebody, Jim in Bloomsburg, one of our listeners, said there's a great documentary regarding this called The Dimming. On chemical trails. And, I mean, this is scary stuff. All right, so we can't do much about it directly, but we can start asking our representatives in government. And
no, sir. No, sir, that's not true. And, and I have provided all that to the – right now we are at the reporting phase. There have been 2 official complaints filed with the FBI. So because myself and my whistleblower, and, you know, we both have death threats. I've had the Joint Terrorism Task Force notify me when I was in North Carolina that there was another threat on my life on top of the one from the Arizona border when we did child search and rescue, pulling the kids out of the cartel compounds. So my reporting has drawn threats against us. We already have the complaints. We're already sitting ducks out here. We're asking people, if they are aware of it, to take their evidence, test their water, to get video evidence of what's being sprayed above their guys, and to contact the FBI. Oklahoma City FBI, we are asking people to contact Agent Joshua Rich. Agent Joshua Rich has received the evidence that I provided that proved that weather weapon Helene was sent to North Carolina. The military has a keen interest in securing those lithium mines, and they actually murdered far more people, and I provided that evidence as well. So we don't want people going to politicians. I've gone to Governor Stitt's office, every senator and representative in Oklahoma. The politicians cannot do anything. I have provided that evidence. Senator Don White of Tennessee said when they passed their chemtrail ban, then they couldn't do nothing because the FAA is federal. It controls the skies. These are military operations. So we need more people to give non-consent to being chemically and biologically poisoned by the stratospheric aerosol injections. That is how you fight back. And you're not lying to them. And you can quote Michael Louis Arthur Meyer and Lori Kramer because we have 2 complaints and Agent Joshua Rich. If you already know what's going on, then you need to file non-consent. If you don't know and you don't believe, then I beg you to I implore you.
And that's what this is for. That's what this is for.
Yeah.
We're not trying to create activism. We're trying to explore this issue because it has not been explored in general media, and it's something that we need to know about. So I look forward to maybe talking to that farmer. I look forward to talking to you again. Please keep in touch, and we'll do this again. It's of concern. I know a number of listeners are on top of this already, and
thank you to those who are because that helps. And the ones that don't know, don't feel bad. We love you. Don't feel bad. I mean, we didn't know at one point. I didn't know at one point. An investigation and just God opened the doors and showed me. He opened my eyes. So don't feel bad and don't be afraid because you know, they shouldn't be doing this, and now they can't legally do it if we all take the peaceful action that we're trying to present the public to do. Because we already have simulations, and there's a whole nother thing we haven't talked about, sir, about the next rads. But we're already going after the military weapons.
Much more to talk about. Louis Arthur, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll talk again soon. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Right. God bless you.
Same to you. And he has. I don't know. It is one of those things. I've said it at the open of this interview and this discussion, it's got to be explored. I don't wear a tinfoil hat, but I'm at the point where if the government's doing something or someone alleges the government is doing something, and by the way, it is proven beyond a doubt that our federal government has tried to manipulate the weather since the 50s, probably even since World War II. And again, as with everything else, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And then it gets out of hand, and then there are unintended consequences. I don't know that we're on this trail right now, but I'm willing to hear about it, and I'm willing to explore it and ask about it, because it's a big deal if it is true. And there are serious people looking at this and convinced that it's occurring. And that's enough for me to explore it. So this is our first batch of it. We're going to talk about it again. It's something. Now, my man Dave Valenti told me, he says, Bob, and there's chemtrails, there's contrails. And I think he's talking about contrails here. They're also called, I'm sorry, because we got another, I don't want to confuse two. Dave Valenti's a pilot. He said, I might be able to explain, and I think he's talking about contrails a little better. If you notice in the winter when it's cold out and humidity is high, you can see your breath. Sometimes when the humidity is low, you can't see your breath, even though it's cold out. The same thing happens in the sky. When someone's flying at high altitude and the air is humid, you'll see the vapor trail from the jet, no chemicals in it. However, when there is no humidity in higher levels, you won't have a contrail, just the same way you won't have breath that you can see in the winter when there's no humidity. Now, so that's a contrail. Then we get to chemtrails, which is what we're talking about here, sky seeding the clouds, all that kind of thing. Jim points out, and it's a documentary called The Dimming on chemtrails. Somebody jokingly says, so we shouldn't be trying to catch raindrops with our mouth. Well, yeah, maybe not. Bob LTS, so the question I have is if they can control the weather, why are they still floods and droughts? Well, the point is they can't. And then Mother Nature, the argument these people are making is, then Mother Nature reacts to the attempt to control the weather, and we get more severe weather conditions, whether it's tornadoes or whatever. So it's the unintended consequences are these. And as Mr. Arthur just said, well, it's not, they throw it to climate change, some to disguise maybe, if his theories are correct. And others, because, well, let's just throw it into that basket because we've got an agenda and we can make money off that. One of our listeners says, hello, Bob. Chemtrails are also called, and this is something that Mr. Arthur touched on, high-altitude atmospheric aerosol injection. Bill Gates and all the globalists are involved in this. The chemicals used for dimming the sun. And by the way, he's talking about this openly. And those chemicals are aluminum, barium, strontium, and a few of these are made into nanoparticulates. It is horrible, and also the reason forest fires are burning so hot and are horrible to manage. Aluminum in the nanoparticles burns extremely hot. I also forgot to mention another thing. Chemtrails are used to modify weather. Lyndon Johnson gave a speech decades ago on this. And so did RFK on weather manipulation and modification. This is real and bad, says our listener. Jim in Bloomsburg says it reinforces and uses the global warming agenda, which is the globalist agenda to enslave us. I mean, I can't go all the way with you, but this, the thought that this stuff is intentional and harmful is getting heavier and heavier to ignore. Chuck in Cardinal says, Bob, if you follow the weather forecast regularly, the day before they forecast rain or snow, go outside and look up. The sky is full of chemtrails. I've been telling people to look up at the sky when I observe the weather. When we know our guy Larry from Plymouth has been telling us about it. Another Art Bell has been talking about chemtrails forever. I'm not sure who that is, but... And on another side, seriously, another conspiracy wacko. I don't... Man, it's easy to do that kind of dismissiveness, but not in today's world if you've been paying attention. Body Shop says, dang, I love a great conspiracy, but not when I'm all out of tinfoil. Somebody else, Bob, I heard this 20 years ago and watched the streams in the skies, LTS. It is incumbent upon us to explore. It really is. Somebody says, joking, so you're saying there's still a chance of for cloudy skies with a chance of meatballs. Yeah. I mean, and look, it's what it is, guys, and it needs to be explored, and you guys are smart enough to handle it. You're smart enough to handle it and accept what you see and reject other things. Well, somebody says, we will forgive you for not knowing who Art Bell is, but he's on this radio, and I'm 28 years old. Yeah, I've never heard of him, but that's why I said it anyway. I knew you weren't making it up. By the way, completely different note. On May 25th, Sunday, there'll be a memorial service to honor the fallen soldiers held at Wyoming Monument near the Price Chopper in Wyoming. Look at this is stuff that has got to be explored. It really does. It's not something that we could just ignore. Let's try to sneak in. Barbara from Courtdale, we've only got 30 seconds, my darling, but fire away.
Okay. These chemtrails have been going on since 1950. They used silver nitrate then. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you, that's why everybody is dying from allergies. You look up in the sky between 10, 11, and 12 o'clock in the morning, and you'll see them all over the place. Florida stopped them.
Well, let me say this, Barbara, it's where I come from. I don't immediately dismiss with what they call conspiracy theories anymore. I don't dismiss them. I listen to them anymore, and I appreciate your thoughts. Thank you, my darling. Always a pleasure. All right. Yeah, this is, it's something we've got to talk about. And it won't be the first time our government experimented above our heads or in our bodies for some other purpose. Not necessarily a nefarious purpose, by the way. Don't think the Red Chinese aren't doing this. Don't think the Russians aren't doing this with much more compliant societies. By the way, if we're doing it. If we're doing it, they're doing it. And controlling the weather is as old as man. That ambition. So now they think they have the technology for it. It just might be happening. Time for Bloomberg Money Minute. Then we'll be back. Yeah, Murph tells the Beach Boys. This date, 1965, moved from number 21 to number 6 with their hit, Help Me, Rhonda. And we're going to finish with the great Ray Charles, who won an R&B Grammy for his hit, I Can't Stop Loving You, back on this date, May 15, 1963. One more call on chemtrails. Donald, sneak it in quickly if you can. Fire away.
Yeah, I did some research on this. Marla Maples, one of Trump's ex-wife, she's co-sponsored a bill down in Florida when DeSantis signed it because of these chemtrails. You know, and he did everything. They stopped them doing it. He said, "You're not going to do it in my state no more. Whatever they're doing, seeding the clouds and everything."
It's really
online.
And we believe. I believe they're doing it. I don't know if they're doing it with malign purpose, but the unintended consequences can be staggering.
Oh yeah, I can even taste it. Even the store-bought tomatoes have to get homegrown or organic. I can taste it. There's definitely something going on. I know. I'm not just making it up, but so that's the best you can do. You have to buy organic. It's going to cost you more, but it's better than getting sick. And as far as that, they're doing it. If the DeSantis could stop it, I'm sure Shapiro could if they want to pass the bill. But I don't know. Maybe there's higher powers involved. Who knows?
Well, we got to keep
stopping in Florida.
We got to keep bringing it to everybody's attention, at the very least. Donald, thank you very much, my man. So as Ray Charles goes on, and I apologize, a lot of callers I just cannot get to today. I'm not going to be here tomorrow. Rob Nyhart's going to be, so you could voice anything you need to voice with that great guy tomorrow, and God willing, I'll be back with you Monday. But Victor Alfieri lunch taking place. I'm not sure if I'm going to get to go, but we want to thank all our great sponsors. Of course, the Basiliga Hospitality Group. The weekend is, the weekend and fun is within your reach at any of their great restaurants, bars, and the movie house. But for now, and don't forget Saturday, Northeast Pennsylvania Armed Forces Day Parade. 9 a.m., the Heroes of All Kinds 5K at the Courthouse Square. And then at the Gino Murley Center, ending at Lackawanna County Courthouse Square, the Armed Forces Day Parade, kicking off at 11 o'clock. We've had these guys on, and man, what a great... we don't do enough tribute to our active military. And that's what this is for. So good stuff. A lot of you commenting on the chemtrails, and I thank you for that. We've just got to... We're not going to be dismissive of this. And by the way, if you're dismissive of it, you're being foolish. It's got to be explored. It is 100% provable that they've been trying to manipulate weather for decades. It's been the dream of mankind forever. Since we left the caves. So we're going to keep on this subject. And I'm open to hearing about it and reading about it and following it up, because the threats are not all from the outside and other cultures. Some of them could be right near us. All right, guys, have a great weekend. God willing, I'll be back with you on Monday. Rob Nyhard tomorrow, so that's actually a treat for me if I get to listen. The Sue Henry Show next. Rob O'Donnell Show after that. But for now, we gavel to a close this meeting of the Club for Common Sense, otherwise known as the Bob Cordaro Show.